Cheryl Dorsey, who's joining me now. Sergeant Dorsey, let me ask you for first your reaction to this swift call by first the mayor saying she wants the officer involved to be fired and that the police chief is stepping aside.
Well, listen, every police chief is at the pleasure of the mayor, so this was an easy fix. In terms of the officers, they're entitled to due process, and I don't know that they will be able to be fired on the spot unless you want them to get their job back. But you see, swift action can be taken when they want to.
So it's interesting that the video we've heard so much about apparently is from the Wendy surveillance cameras and some body cam video, as well as video from people who were at the scene or nearby that investigators currently have and are using. The mayor saying, based on what she's learned, she does not believe lethal force was justified. What are your thoughts about whether lethal force would be justified in an incident in which, you know, a person points a taser, which he had gotten from the officer, we were told, at that officer, and the officer opens fire?
Well, as I previously stated, we're assuming that the taser was operable. I don't even know if the darts that were in it were able to be discharged, number one. And number two, it sounded like they were saying that this man had turned and was fleeing. And so, listen, we've seen far too many times officers who don't have the physical stamina or just don't want to run after someone who flees on foot. And so they shoot them because, listen, when an officer kills you, there's only one version, and it's the one that they tell. And so I imagine these officers are crafting a story. They're going to stick to it. And it'll be interesting to see how the district attorney views this, and then ultimately a jury.
We also have with us the former Philadelphia Police Commissioner Charles Ramsey. And Commissioner, we were just talking a short time ago about this case, and you really urge people to sort of pump the brakes, not rush to judgment. What are your thoughts about what has transpired?
Well, you know, you have to see the evidence, but the mayor would have access to evidence that right now we don't have. You know, mayors have a tough job. They got to make tough decisions. And police chiefs, we all well know, are only one incident away from being fired or being asked to step down. I mean, that's the nature of the business. But as that video is released, we'll be able to determine more, because you'll be able to see, did he turn around? What was the distance between the two? I think your previous guest mentioned something very important. If the taser had been discharged before, would it be capable of firing again? I don't have the answers to any of that. Again, you know, we need to know the evidence before we can really make a judgment. But the mayor made a choice. She made a statement, and, you know, she knows more than we know.
I want to listen in again to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation director describing what happened last night.
We have now seen full video from the Wendy's restaurant showing this gentleman entering into the video frame, running or fleeing from Atlanta police officers. It appears that he has in his hand the taser. You can see that at least to the naked eye. That's what it appears. He runs a relatively short distance, looks like it's probably 5, 6, 7 parking spaces distance, and at that point turns around, and it appears to the eye that he points the taser at the Atlanta officer. At that point, the Atlanta officer reaches down and retrieves his weapon from his holster, discharges it, strikes Mr. Brooks there on the parking lot, and he goes down.
Sergeant Dorsey and Commissioner Ramsey, I feel like you both may have some different opinions about what we just heard. So I just want to get, again, both of your thoughts on that, because Sergeant Dorsey, it sounds like you believe the officer made the wrong call to fire.
So let me be clear. When someone runs from you, a police officer has two choices. You can get ready to get exercise, or you let them go. You don't get to shoot because you can't catch them. And so based on what I'm hearing, based on what GBI just said, this was a shooting that was unnecessary and most likely out of policy.
Commissioner Ramsey, do you agree?
Well, I don't have enough evidence to make that determination. I mean, I spent 17 years as a chief, and I read a lot of files, and you have to read the file, you have to see the evidence, you have to view videos if they're there, and then you make a determination as to whether or not the use of deadly force was justified or not. Perhaps it wasn't. I don't know, but I haven't seen enough to be able to make a determination on this particular case. And you have to judge cases individually. based on what you have, the facts you have at your disposal for that case. It may have been a bad shooting. I don't know. But as we start to see the video and as more information is released, then you can start to make a judgment as to whether or not this officer should have used deadly force, should not have used deadly force, or what have you. But again, the mayor probably has more information than certainly we do at this moment.
Commissioner, how do you anticipate this investigation will proceed?
Well, GBI they will handle the investigation. They've already shown a willingness to share some evidence, which not all the time the district attorney, along with the investigating agency, are willing to do. So that's a good thing. They understand the urgency and they understand the environment. I'm sure that they will try to get this wrapped up as fast as they can, but it needs to be thorough. It needs to be complete in order to be a good investigation. So I'm sure they'll go as fast as they can, but not so fast that it'll be sloppy. I'm confident that that won't happen. That's a good organization, GBI.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Commissioner Ramsey, as well as Sergeant Dorsey. I appreciate both of you very much. And we are working to turn the video that we understand has been released now from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. So we're working on that. We're also working to get reaction from protesters on the ground there in Atlanta. You can see them gathering as you look at these live pictures. You're watching CNN. Quick break. We'll be right back.